I'm gonna go ahead and start the recording here. It looks like it is recording. Did you guys get a red button that said it's recording?
Yeah, upper right-hand side.
Excellent. All right, so we have to watch it. We have to mind our manners and not say anything that might bounce back at us. And I'll go ahead and share the screen. I'm using the free version of Zoom. Free, F-R-E-E, but there are some limitations. I can only have 50 people on at a time. Well, that's not a problem, but also the meeting can only last 40 minutes. So I need to get this done before 40 minutes is up. So I'll blast through, and I guess if there's more time that we need, we can always go out of this meeting, start a new meeting, and do it that way. But I think we'll just try and shoot for that, try and get done in about a half hour, and that should work out. I'm gonna go ahead and blast into PowerPoint, and oh shoot, it's at the end of the PowerPoint though, so share screen. I'm gonna have to back my PowerPoint all the way back up to the beginning, but that's all right. I did send you a PowerPoint, and I just sent you another document called Course Assignments. The Course Assignments is a very useful document because it, what does it do? It gives you all of the different activities and describes them in a bit more detail. So I don't know what you're seeing now. Do you see video and the slides, or just the slides?
I'm seeing just slides, Roy.
Okay. And what about if I do it like this? What do you see?
I see the slides in a participant view, so I see the video.
Okay. Well, I'll just run it like this.
So do I.
If you see it, I'll go bigger then. I think I can do it this way. Just I don't know if that's good or bad, but okay. I guess we don't need to see each other. It doesn't matter. If you have a question, I do have you can shout at me with audio, or you can type a question in the chat, and I have the chat box up, so I should be able to see it. Well, this is designing e-learning within a CMS, and everyone's going to ask me, is this a CMS or an LMS? I swear I don't know. In the old Angel, we used to call it an LMS, a learning management system, but now Canvas, they call it a course management system. I'm not sure that we know what it is, so I'm just going to stay with CMS because that's what Canvas calls themselves. So we're using a CMS now. I'm hoping that at the end of this, you'll have a lot of experiences and build up a lot of skills that you can do e-learning, both within the CMS and outside of the CMS. And we're also going to look at open education resources, OERs, which are outside of the Canvas LMS environment. I wanted to show you this view that there is a Canvas app that runs in the iPad as well as on Android devices, and so you don't only do Canvas on.
Hey, and I got you these.
I think I got them there.
Yes, so sorry, I'll let you go now. All right, no, I put it over there.
Who is that? Do you know?
Yeah.
Well, that's somebody that rides in, I think. So you can do. This is the iPad view, and there's also the another view. I'm going to mute my speaker.
Who's that?
Here is the Canvas. Whoever that is, could you mute your microphone? We're hearing somebody in the background. Thanks so much. I think they're still clicking. Okay, so this is the view in Canvas, and I think that you inside of a Dell browser. So if you'll notice, along the left-hand side, I'm going to put announcements up every week about what we're doing. So if you're not absolutely certain about things, there'll be an announcement there, and I'll have hyperlinks there. Whenever it's your turn to moderate, if you give me the link, I'll put it in the announcements too. So the idea is I try to put links everywhere, so no matter where you go, you're going to be able to find out what we're doing. If you're not sure what view you have, modules is always a good one to click. Also, you'll notice Google Drive and VoiceThread. So those are links out to our VoiceThread and our Google Drive, and also our Yammer group, and so on. I think this is this Zoom meeting too. So get into that left navigation menu. Also, that help at the bottom left there. Anytime you move to Canvas, is that me making that static? We're getting a lot of static. Someone check your mute. Someone's generating a lot of static for some reason. Let's see if I can mute everybody. Let's see. I'll go over to the control panel here and see if I can should have a way of doing that. Let's see, audio options. No, that's not what I want. Well, it cleared itself up before I could figure out how to do it, so there we go. I'm showing you week 1 here. One thing I want to remind everybody is drop add. Look through the assignments now and see if this is going to fit your needs, your professional needs and the timing. And hopefully by the end of this session, you'll have a real good idea. You've got a certain amount of time that you can drop and add, and it doesn't cost you anything. But if you wait too long, then they charge you some ridiculous amount of money, like $250 or something. I think that's so unfair. So try to make a decision tonight or tomorrow if you want to stay in the course or not. Also, the first week is a long week. It runs from this Monday until the following Tuesday, because I like a Wednesday to Tuesday lesson cycle. That allows people to do things over the weekend if that's what you do, but it also allows you to do it on Monday and Tuesday if that's the way you do it. I don't like stuff being due on Monday because that forces people to have to work on Saturday and Sunday. So the first week's long to get us to the following Tuesday, and then after that it will be a Wednesday to Tuesday cycle. That's just me. Here are our first lessons, the getting started in lesson 1 that we'll do in this long week. If you just go into Canvas, you'll see each one of these. They're pretty straightforward, what to click and what to do and everything like that. And also the first 2 discussions, which are down in lesson 1. The links are there where you go. Okay, let's see if this will go to the next screen. This is our sandbox. Okay, so inside of Canvas, I've created a second CMS folder called our sandbox, and I've given you privileges there to do anything you want to in there, including delete anything. So please be very careful in there that you don't delete other people's folders and so on. And you notice it looks sort of like our regular course, but it's a little bit different because the left menu items are different. And I'd like everyone to add your Gmail address. I have everybody but 2, so I'm still chasing those 2 people. And also how to add a module in Canvas. I did a little video there that you can watch in case you haven't done it. And there are 5 or 6 people that have already added their video by clicking the module button and going forward. So this is just a look of our sandbox. This is inside of our Google Drive, okay? So you should have privilege to go into Google Drive now, everybody except for the 2 that I don't have your Gmail yet. And this is what our folder looks like. You can see the list of different files here that we'll be using. And modules 1 and 2, which is the first 5 weeks, they're inside of a folder inside of that folder. So you can see them in order here. LMS, the wrong place to start, and open for learning. That's the first 2 discussions that we will do this week, okay? So the first 2 discussions are in Google Drive. They're inside that folder called Module 1 and Module 2. You have access to this, so you can add things to it. You can delete things, so be careful. Don't delete things, and so on. If you have any questions, let me know. Here's our PSU Yammer group. And I wanted to point out, we're called LDT 832 CMS Designs. And I try to get on there every morning and just chatter. And so if you have anything to ask that's just sort of general in nature, you can do it there. Anything private, you can email me. But I do try to hit it every day, 5 days a week, but not over the weekend. Notice some of the other groups on the left that you can join. You can join the Canvas group, which is all the people that are working in Canvas on campus or around all of the campuses, and they have lots of ideas about what is the breaking news. There's PSU Learning Designers. There's the PSU Yard Sale if you want to buy and sell stuff around here, and so on. So one of the things you might want to do is just see, are there any Yammer groups that you could utilize to advance your professional needs. Here are the assignments with dates. So there's an introduction video due on 8/29. It's inside of VoiceThread. The first time you go into VoiceThread, you have to register with your PSU name. After that, you'll be in our folder and you'll be able to see the stuff in there. So when you click the VoiceThread link in Canvas, you'll then have to log in with your PSU ID. It should be seamless. Has anyone been able to do that yet? Get into VoiceThread? Have you tried it? Anybody online? Hear anybody? Probably not. Okay. So that's due by next Tuesday. It takes 2 minutes, seriously, 2 minutes. The moderation and participation, that's what we do every week. You'll pick one topic to moderate during the course, and you sign up for it in our logistics document, which I'll show you in a second. So you prepare it, you do it. I do the first couple of these so you can see how to do it. You can do it in any kind of system you want. You can do it in our sandbox discussion. You can do it in VoiceThread. You can do it in Google Docs. You can do it in your own learning management system. You can deliver the discussion any way you want to. Everybody try to keep it nice and short, though, so that it doesn't drive people crazy. In other words, think about the reasonableness of what what is worthy of time doing when you're doing your discussion. This is a chance for you to practice setting it up, moderating, and then summarizing. So that depends on the date you sign up, all of those. It's worth 10%, so be sure you sign up of the course grade. Participation across the entire course is worth 10%. I'll talk more about the community resource list later. This is a very simple activity that you just collect resources, 5 resources over the course of the semester, 1 point for each one. And you just give us a link and talk about it very briefly. So this is almost a gimme. We're going to crowdsource a list of resources for this course that we can all take away then. Community resource list weekly report. One time during the course, you talk about one of the ones that you think you really use and like on Yammer. No big book. This is pretty straightforward, okay? The CMS paper. All of the 4 papers you do are 2 pages long, double spaced. 2 pages long, double spaced, and normal size font, okay? So one of the papers is called the CMS paper. What it does is it essentially, the description of what you do is in the document, but it is basically a summary of the first 3 weeks of work. Everything you've been thinking about sort of boils down into that CMS paper. Then on September 26th, there's a social networking paper. All that is, for 1 point, is to tell what social network you're going to participate in. What I want you to do during the course is to join a social network. It could be professional, such as Google Plus for instructional designers or teachers, or it could be a professional network, like in the Army, for instance, or it could even be a hobby network, like a cooking network, or a runner's network, or something like that. The key on this is not that it's about anything particularly, it's about looking at it and saying to yourself, how do these bloody things work? And what is good about them and what is bad about them? And is there any way that I can then use a professional network in my own environment, either to develop myself professionally or personally, or with my students? One that people have joined before is actually the Yammer Canvas group. So they literally were in PSU Yammer doing that, but others have gone on Google Plus and all the different kinds of networks. So be thinking about which one you want to do and decide by September the 26th. And then from September the 26th all the way down to December the 3rd, participate in it. You can just lurk, or you can actually enter and do stuff in it, whatever you want to do for that couple months. And then you'll write a 2-page paper at the end that's worth the other 4 points. So 1 point to tell me what it is, and then the other 4 points to write the 2-page paper. All right, so that's the social networking paper. CMS lesson prep. That is just another 5 points for free. On October the 17th, you're going to tell me what your CMS lesson is going to be about, okay? So 5 points just for doing that is to get you focused, to start thinking, okay, I got to start working on my final lesson projects now. And then if you look at the CMS lesson, it's actually due on 11/27, on November the 27th. All it has to be is, in any CMS, create a lesson in a CMS. It needs to have some content, it needs to have some interaction, it needs to have some assessment. It can be really simple. It can be as short as 5 minutes long, but it needs to have some content in it, it needs to have some interaction in it, and it needs to have some assessment. Whatever else you want to put in there, that's fine. If you want to do it for your own professional setting, that's okay. So far, so good? Okay, so that's the CMS lesson. Pretty straightforward. The idea is to force you to think about how to put things into a CMS. What CMS do you use? You can use our sandbox. It's sitting right there. You have full edit rights in there. You can put it inside your folder, but you don't have to. You can use the CMS at work, at your school, wherever you are, you can use that one. So that's the CMS lesson. The CMS lesson itself is worth 20 points. But again, I'm a real easy grader on these things, all right? Just don't turn in crap, because your peers are going to review it and they will crucify you. So do a good job on that. So the CMS lesson prep. The next one is Blue Sky paper. The Blue Sky paper is in November. And the idea of the Blue Sky paper is, the CMS paper is where are we now and what does the CMS do? The Blue Sky paper is where would I like it to go? And we do that right after we do some things with mobile learning and with some other broader sorts of ideas, with a lot of work on social networks by then. And so you'll sort of have all this bubbling around in your head. You can think in a 2-page paper, double spaced, you can say the future of the CMS. What would you like to see? We've already talked about the CMS lesson. We've already talked about the social networking paper, final reflection paper. That's due at the very end of the course, and it's 2-page double spaced. where you just reflect for your own learning. The idea in adult learning is that when you that you don't get a full learning experience unless you sit down and stop and think and say, where did I start? How far did I go? What did I learn? Who did I meet? What is my new network? And so you process it and you enrich it and you think then, where do I go from here? How do I leverage? How do I magnify? How do I utilize the things that I've done? And then the last thing on this page is a peer review of CMS lessons. So the last week between when the CMS lesson is due, that's November the 27th, to up till December the 3rd, there's about a week, and you'll go out and sign up to review 4 different student lessons and give them feedback. So you'll get to see a cross-section of individuals, and that's worth 20 points. So that's where the 100 points is. 4 papers, participation, moderating your group, a community resource list, which is a give me pretty much, and then the final project. So here are the 4 papers. That document that I by email, course assessments, they describe each one of these papers in detail. It's on our Canvas website, but for some reason it's buried in there. It's real hard to find it in our Canvas website, so I just sent it to you. That way you'd have it in your email. See how we're doing time-wise. Okay. 18 minutes. I got to do a little faster. Okay. I love Blaise Pascal's comment. I've only made this letter longer because I've not had the time to make it shorter. That's the idea of the 2-page paper. So you will be initiator and moderator of course discussion. We'll look at the next slide on that. I've already mentioned about designing a lesson in any CMS. It can be for your students, professionally or at school. It can be for your own classmates or even for yourself. We could actually design a lesson for yourself. I don't know how you do that. It'd be quite interesting. So peer review, we talked about that. You'll do a peer review. Let's talk about some late submission. If it's me that's affected, I do not care. But some of the assignments affect the other students in the class. Like for instance, let's take the video introduction. You can't go out and look at everybody's intro until they're all there. And so if you wait 3 or 4 weeks to submit yours, then you've held up everybody. You've affected everybody in the class. So that's one of those that we just can't be lenient on. You just need to get it done. It's 2 minutes. And then I'll send an email and say, everybody, we're all in there. You can go out and see the introduction from everybody. We do this because it introduces you to VoiceThread. We also do it because it introduces us to you and us to each other. And also it's the kind of activity that you might want to do in your own course. It's always a good idea to know who's in the course. So when you're reading discussion comments, you can tie it back to somebody's name and what they said about what they like to do. Pretty standard stuff. So here's the moderating a discussion. You'll sign up on the logistics document for a week and a topic, and then you go out and learn more about the topic, read the chapter in the book. They're all targeted on chapters in the textbook. Come up with some way of giving it to us, some questions to ask or some summary topic or something that we can focus on. Questions are always a good way to do it, but there are other ways too. If you use a paper, try to make sure you have permission. It could be just informative or it could be provocative where you're trying to get people to, grind at it, okay? Okay, post it by Wednesday, okay, so that we can all get in there on Wednesday and have the full week. You can use, like I said, Canvas, Yammer, Zoom, VoiceThread, whatever you want, whatever methodology you want for doing your synchronous discussion. Send us the directions on how to get into it on that Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, so we'll all know how to get into it. Spend the week moderating the discussion. See what it's like to moderate a discussion as the instructor so that you can develop your skills in that. And then at the end, summarize it into a very small amount of bullet points, like maybe less than a page of the main takeaways from this, because you at that point are the smartest person of that topic. You researched it ahead of time, you looked at every bit of discussion, you replied to everybody's comments, and so you are the smartest of everybody. And so your summary of it is going to be a really nice understanding of what happened there and what we learned from it. And then email that to us in some way or distribute it in some way. So here's what the CMS logistics file looks like inside of our Google Docs. And right away, I realized that I left out the webinar. There is a webinar sign up, so I have added it down to that document. There is a webinar sign up. It's going to be on Wednesday, September the 13th at 3 p.m. It's a free sign up, but you have to give the magazine your bloody name and email address, and then they'll keep sending you email. So once you do the webinar, you can keep getting their emails, or you can unlink. You can, what do you call it, unconnect or whatever from them, so you don't see their emails anymore. But you will need to sign up, and I have put the sign up link in the logistics document over in the column that says topics, but it's also in our sandbox. Okay, so the link is also in our sandbox under something that says like webinar or something like that. So here we are, weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You'll see a few people have signed up already. Like for instance, Katie signed up for week 6, and Tina signed up for week 7, and Marty signed up for week 8 already. Hopefully picking a topic that's useful to you. We have more boxes to fill in than we do people, and so wherever you don't sign up, I'll sign up and do the discussion myself. I'll take it over, but I'll wait for everybody to have as much degrees of freedom or flexibility to sign up as possible. So this is a real good go-to doc. If you're not sure what you're doing, go to this doc and you'll have a pretty good idea of where stuff is, what we're doing that week. It's sort of a tight summary. Here's weeks 9 through 15. We do have Thanksgiving on week 13, and so we'll be spending a lot of time after that of not having any discussions after about week 10, a little bit in week 11, but after that, no more discussions. We're done with the discussions. What we're doing then is working on a project, participating in the social network that you selected, writing the Blue Sky paper and the other papers, and just getting all of the various bits and pieces done. Weekly, this is probably what you'll do. There's a reading in the textbook. You'll probably go online and collaborate. You'll do the discussion online wherever it is. You'll spend some time online foraging for resources. That's for the OER, for the Open Educational Resources list, and also just stuff for your project, because you might need a YouTube video for your content in your lesson or something like that, or you might need simulation. So you're just going to be stumbling around on the internet and say, oh my God, this is something I could use in my final project. Also, once you have decided on your social network, then start spending time in it, so you'll have some experiences to relate in your social network paper at the end of the course. So here's another way of thinking about it. There's theory and there's practice. And what this course is going to do is spin you round and round, alternating between theory and practice, where you're reading and then you're thinking and you're doing. You're absorbing stuff, you're doing stuff, and you're connecting stuff over and over again. And what happens is content is spinning out of this as papers or as activities, mainly as like 2-page papers and then as projects at the end. So that's sort of, that's what's happening over the next 14 or 15 weeks. And so that's it. And so I think we're doing well so far. We haven't blacked out of anything. We get out of stop sharing, go back to normal mode. And so any comments or anything? Is that, there must be comments, I think. And I'm checking my chat box too. So it scrolled below the screen. So
This is Katie. I have a question about the CMS lesson.
mm-hmm.
If we choose to do something that would be applicable to our work, would we need to get access to people to view that through our work CMS, or is it more of a overview of what we did, how it looks, those kinds of things?
Yes, that is the catch. It's better if you can figure out a way for us to get in there as guests. So that's where the catch comes in. Is we need to be able to see it really functioning. If you really gave a hard argument that this is something you really need to do for work, and it would be very helpful, then we're willing to make an exception where you could develop a PowerPoint slide of the screens and walk us through how it looks so that we could give you feedback on that. But it's better if it's done in a system that you can give the 4 peer reviewers and myself access to, so we can literally put our eyeballs on it.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Pretty straightforward. It can be fun, guys. We can have a lot of fun with this. Well, Marty, you made it. You were able to get out of your session then. Oh, I don't think he heard me. Is he typing? You may, yes, Marty, you were saying, do we use, do we use Canvas? You may use a Canvas sandbox, yes. We may be almost done with our time here. I think we have a few more minutes left. Everybody's quiet. Let me check over here. It looks good. Understand it. Very good, Brian. Yes, okay. No mic here. Okay, yeah, Mary doesn't have a mic. Scroll on down, see what Brian said. Yeah, but it's not showing me what he said. Okay. Well, okay. Well, that's the kickoff, and we have a run back here to the 20, I think. All the students are coming on campus. Any of you that are actually here on campus, it's crazy. You can't. The students walk around looking in the air like they're hypnotized, so you have to be careful that you don't run over them. And if you were at Penn State, you know what I'm talking about. It, and they don't go in groups of 1 and 2. They go in groups of about 20. So they're just like, all these people around here. It's very exciting. Things after a dormant summer, things are coming back to life now. So that's kind of fun. Anything else? I can't think of anything. It's pretty straightforward. Any other questions or anything? I'll see how the recording's being here. And shut this. Well, okay, I'm going to pause the recording and go ahead and begin processing it, and I'll send the link out to everybody. You all were here, so you don't need to watch it again, but I will make that available to you. Usually what happens with these sessions is people attend the first 1 or 2, but I have 5 scheduled, and that's a lot of video sessions. So if you like that, then I'll see you again. If not, you know that you can always watch the video. I'll always try to keep it less than 30 minutes because I'm using the free version, and so I have to. So any other questions? I'm going to stop the recording.